Hey, sports fans, welcome on in. It's the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell. So glad you could join our show. So glad that you're a part of what we do. It really means a lot to me. And I love that you subscribe, you tune in, you listen, you like all that stuff. So keep doing it. There's nothing better than getting down and dirty every day with sports. And there's nothing better than getting down and dirtier with this guest, none other than world famous, amazing, the best wide receiver ever in the NFL. Herman Moore joins the show. Herman, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm good, Scott. You know what? I got to make sure that if I ever, if God forbid, I go anytime before you, um, you need to come there, and I'm gonna make sure you're the guy that's up there, just introducing me,
Oh, dude,
giving me my exit, and everything else.
I can bring it.
It's amazing. You,
Yeah,
you can bring it, and you're doing
yeah,
this unscripted. People don't realize this is just
yeah.
this is just through pure heart, man. I
Just,
appreciate you.
yeah, you got it, buddy. No, I
I
can
appreciate
I can make you walk away from here going, man, I'm the best guy in the whole world. Like
you.
there's nothing better than me right now. We're gonna get into I have so much fun stuff today. And I wanted to talk about it. Like what is it? And the reason I do is I look at like this Fernando Mendoza, who's probably going to be the first pick in the draft. He's from Indiana, and he just was it this year. And then you look at Carson Beck, who went to Miami, and he was this huge recruit. Was at Georgia, kind of. I don't know if he fell out of favor there. Goes to Miami, he struggles, but man, he kind of produces during the season, and he really propels them to a national championship. And then you have this Sam Darnold, who is just a fascinating study for me. And I got thinking, partly because there's now this new round of quarterbacks, that are going to, and it's all positions. And so, Sam Darnold didn't have it. Like he was with the Jets, he didn't have it. He was in Carolina, didn't have it. But all of a sudden he does. And what I'm talking about is, and I really wanted to get it from the perspective of a wide receiver. Like I can tell you what it is, like a quarterback who has it. And it's fascinating to me where these guys maybe have it in college and then they don't have it in the pros. Like Andre Ware, who won the Heisman Trophy. Andre and I were actually drafted in the same class, and he'd thrown for 14 billion yards in college, and he was it. And then he just never really turned into it in the pros. And so I'm really fascinated, and I want to talk about the wide receiver. We can talk about quarterbacks and whatever, but what is it that makes it for a wide receiver?
Well, I think I don't want to necessarily move away just too quickly from that quarterback position too fast, because I
Okay.
got a couple thoughts on that, and then I'll jump into the wide receivers. Like for the quarterbacks, I think you're coming in, you got to think of the pressure that comes with being a quarterback. You're coming in, you're the one who is leading an entire unit. Like receivers, yes, we go out, we have an assignment. You have the other players, they have assignments, but the quarterback is really the one who sets it up and then sets the tone, then has to make the read, make the calls, work with everyone. So it's a different type of mentality. It's a different type of person that is needed in order to succeed at that position. Now, you can get away with that when you have the support, let's say at the high school level or at the collegiate level, where you got people in your ear, they're really giving you the instructions. You're given more reign, you're given an ability to do more at the professional level, and you're expected as you go up. Even if you look at the class from in the collegiate realm, if you're a sophomore, then you're a junior, then you're a senior, then if you stay extra years, then there's an expectation that you're taking over more responsibility and you can self-manage. And what I see is that when you get to the professional level, it is expected to extend. And even if you're a high round pick, as a quarterback, there's expectations to carry the weight of the team, because typically when you pick a quarterback in the first round or you pick a quarterback, you have a purpose for that quarterback, whether it's a stabilization at the backup position or whether it's to be the starter and the new face of the franchise. Now let's move over to receiver.
Hold on one
With the-
second, because
yeah,
now you've stimulated a question in my
all
brain.
right, go ahead.
Um, you talk about like kind of carrying the weight of the team, and I talk about this, and and I'm a firm believer in this, but I'm curious what it's like from your perspective, where how how meaningful is it to you how the quarterback delivers the play in the huddle. Like, is there conviction in his voice? Is it clear? Do you notice when you walk in the huddle and you go, man, this guy, one, probably doesn't know what he's doing, and two, not really believing in this play. So how important is it for you to hear from the quarterback to go, man, I like this, is it just, hey, you just call the play, or this guy get in the huddle and say, man, we gotta pull it together here, like, how much of that impacts you as a wide receiver to know, okay, this guy has it?
It depends. So I expect my quarterback, and I think I responded to quarterbacks who were firm, that were confident, that basically commanded the huddle, and they could set aside the stares, the glares, the attitudes, because you can't please. The quarterback can't be a people pleaser. They're a game manager. They're a person who's sitting in there getting us in position to move. And I could tell you this: when I was younger and I'm playing wide receiver, you don't see that immediately, because I'm trying to find my way. So I'm
Right. Yeah.
looking for that person to lead me. And then when they call my play, I just want to get my assignment. Everyone else, depending on where you are in your tenure, depending on where you are in your career, that determines how much you're relying on that quarterback, or you're relying on that person beside you, or that person within your unit. But then once you become basically, you're responsible and accountable for yourself, you're just looking at that quarterback from the standpoint, I need you to be at the level I'm at in confidence. You need to own that position. And that position means you have to sit there and tell everybody, shut the hell up. Or you have to sit there and tell everyone, get in the huddle. No, just go here, and you set people up. You see the quarterbacks who are able to take that. But you got to get buy-in from the players. You can break your quarterback. And you know where I mean with this. If you're not with that quarterback,
Yeah.
if you're not sitting there giving that complete support, the same thing happens back, and you have to reciprocate that. So the quarterback has to show that he has confidence in that receiver. He has confidence in that play. He has confidence in that line, that scheme. And it's all these dynamics that are at play that I don't think people realize when it comes to building the player. And it comes to, you talked about Sam Darnold, you talked about Andre Ware. Yeah, everyone heard about the big numbers that Andre had, and then the Heisman Trophy. Then he comes to the Lions, and then they're expecting him to do all these things, but he's still in a developmental state. It doesn't matter what he did in college; it's a different level. Same thing with me. I struggled. There's an adjustment. Some people get it off right out the bat. They come out, swinging, and they're hitting home runs and scoring touchdowns and dunking and doing all this and leading NBA and scoring all. But some people take time. And so it's a matter of the process too, so
Yeah.
it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I didn't think about how deep it goes when it comes to the development of players, and what the mindset, the physical side of it, and also all those other intangibles that come into play, that determines whether or not they're going to be successful or not in their acceptance.
Well, you have like Chris Carter, right? Hall of Famer, great wide receiver, one of the best, has it, right? But he gets cut by the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, he's almost on his way out of the NFL. And you talk about this development. You talk about some of the stuff that's, it takes to figure out it. Or you look at these quarterbacks like a Tom Brady or a Joe Montana, who aren't drafted necessarily high in the draft, and they figure things out. Or you look at some of these guys like Dan Marino halfway through his rookie year. It's like he came out of the womb perfectly throwing the football, and there's so many variations of, and Marino was like the fifth pick of the first round at quarterback. It wasn't like he was the first guy to go off the board in his draft. And I just, this whole process of it, and so I think of like, for a quarterback, you have to be able to throw the football. Like there's a level of skill, there's a level of competency, and yet it's, I looked at like Achilles Smith, right? Achilles, I think we played together in Cincinnati, and he was not very good, but he was amazingly talented, and he could throw the football, and he could, he was very skilled, he's very athletic. He might actually do halfway decent in the NFL the way it is today. His skill set kind of matches more of where but to sit in the pocket, to drop back and read, like it was just foreign to him, and he just couldn't grasp it. So So even though there's an element of, okay, you got to have the skill, you got to be able to make the throws, you also have to have like, and it's it's this, we talk about confidence, we talk about, this understanding, because I think too, it's um, there's an intuition to things. And you talked about early on, struggling, and you got to a point where you just go, yeah, it's like the game just clicks in, and you're just playing on a level that you could almost say is not even in your conscious mind. And so there's all of these things that factor into it. And I can tell you what it is for a quarterback, and the environment is a big part of it too. The system that you're in, the people that are around you. I mean, all of it fits into it. And yet, some guys kind of are in that environment and they can't do it. And so I'm really curious, like, what are some of the other things, like for a wide receiver, that you think make a wide receiver it?
Yeah, it's I'm listening even more closely in what you're talking about, like the it factor, and there is an it factor that every position has to have. So let's look at some of the pieces. I think if I had to really dial in from the it factor for wide receivers, one is you have to have a great amount of confidence. You look at wide receivers, the ones you can look in their eyes, you can look in their body mechanics, their movements, the way in which they approach the game, in terms of if they have that it factor, meaning no matter where they are, their destination is to succeed. Their destination is to be great. Their destination is to go out and be considered the best at what they do. So you got to have that it factor of it's a confidence that is unmatched at the wide receiver position. You also have to have that other it factor is to say, you know what, I can. It does not matter, I'm just from a receiver who the quarterback is. I'm going to make the play. I have to have it in a radius. I just have to have the ball near me. I just need to be given the opportunity. I just need to be considered a part of the solution, the ability to be impact for this team and those things. If you have that, and then you also have to be able to work through the challenges. You have to be resilient and tough as a wide receiver. The ones that sit around and want the flash and that want to be, hey, look at me, and it's more about the selfishness and the entertainment value versus the actual task. That receiver is a flash in the pan. It's when the light gets shined on someone else and it gets away from them, they're going to fail. They're going to be problematic. They're going to fall apart. The one who says, you know what, I am here to do the best that I can do with every opportunity that I'm given. As long as I'm given those opportunities, I will get it done. It is these it factors there's a lot of it's mental. It's mental, and then there's the physical piece. The physical piece is already determined. You should be there.
So talking about this, I was thinking about being a young quarterback, right? So first, second year, Miami Dolphins. I'm just trying to hope I get to play right. I don't get a lot of reps. The only time I get to play is in the preseason. Every once in a while, I get to throw the ball to the top wide receivers, the Marks brothers, Mark Clayton, Mark Duper, some of these other great Dolphin wide receivers. And I'm terrified. Like here, I'm like, man, just don't screw it up. And here they're wide receivers, right? And I was like almost intimidated by the fact that they had it. And at that time, I was like, I didn't want to screw it up for them. And so I would get so nervous. And then I think about as I progress through my career, and it's like, I don't want to throw the ball to anyone other than the it guys. Like, I don't even like in practice, in a game, and sometimes even in a game, it's like, when the heat is on, when you really have to count on a play, it's like, I'm looking for the guy who has it more than anyone else. And, I was fortunate enough that we had guys who had it. I always love Johnny Morton, and I feel sorry for him, because he was kind of the third it as far as wide receivers, and he was a good it, but he certainly wasn't one or two. And Johnny was always trying to convince me, to throw him the ball and to throw him the ball more. And it wasn't, it wasn't necessarily that he wasn't it. It was just like there was almost a pecking order. But it's just funny how there's this, when you talk about confidence and you talk about, when a person really has it, if you're not prepared for that, it kind of is repelling in some regards. Because like I said, I was so afraid or nervous that I would screw it up for these, or I'd throw the ball in the wrong way, and I get a disgusted look from these guys, like, man, put it where it's supposed to be, and it's just funny when you were bringing that up about the it factor of wide receivers.
Yeah, if I could add one more thing to this, and this is a question back towards you, because you're coming from that perspective of the quarterback, but I'm curious, like when you talk about some of these other young quarterbacks, let's say you're a rookie quarterback, you're coming in, you're a high draft pick, but you're coming into a system that has weapons and you have established players. Can that also, because that's supposed to be your support system, that's supposed
Right.
to be those that are looking to get you acclimated, to give you that confidence, to make sure that you now have what you need around you to be successful as a young quarterback. But it seems like in discussing this with you, that it never dawned on me, your teammates could technically really break that guy unintentionally, meaning
Yeah.
there's an intimidation factor that could be there that gets them overthinking or not really sure of what they should do, because how do you go away from an all pro or a Pro Bowl wide receiver when you're a rookie, when the play's not necessarily there, but maybe you're supposed to throw it there? The pressure of knowing that you got to find these certain players versus going through your progression and your read and let the play take you where it takes you, and having the confidence to say, I didn't go there because that would have been a bad place to go. But you get these guys, and I think about the huddle, go into our huddle. And this is for people there that don't understand. We had a very competitive wide receiving trio, and myself, Johnny Morton, and Brett Perriman. We all wanted the ball. And then there's Scott. He's a new guy coming in. We've already established that we're not getting enough passes no matter who comes in. And there's pressure because I'm the guy that's the top guy. I'm going to a Pro Bowl the first year you get there. You have Brett Perriman, who's been a very steady, dependable player, very outspoken. Then you got Johnny Morton, who's a first round draft pick, and he's USC, he's West Coast. We know how the West Coast guys are. It's flash, it's shine, but Johnny could play. And we're all in your ear. We're saying all these things. We're trying to get at you. You're trying to learn the system, learn to play. You don't even really know us, and you don't know the dynamics at play, and you got to get your line. Like all these things, I'm thinking about it, and I look back, I go, there's so many things that have to go right, whether you are a free agent or whether you are a high draft pick quarterback and someone who's coming into a unit, especially at that position. It's all these other positions matter as well. But I'm thinking about it now in hindsight. It's like, it seems like that could break a quarterback, but not intentionally, because there's these other things that are at play that can disrupt, because it's all about fluidity, right? And it's all about flow.
Yeah. Right. So what was in that particular situation, you come into a situation. So basically my situation is, hey, the Lions are ready to win a Super Bowl. All they need is a quarterback, right? So that's the pressure of that situation. And then you couple that with the Detroit Lions fan base just hates quarterbacks, right? And on top of that, you have the fan favorite Barry Sanders, and so you're in a very tough situation, without even mentioning what you just talked about the competitive nature of all the wide receivers. And so when I went into that situation initially, it was like, and I want to do everything. I want to do everything perfectly. I wanted to do it, and because I was all about, I'm with you. Like, let's go. I believe I'm the guy that's going to take us to a Super Bowl. And so that wasn't ever an issue, from the pressure of it. The challenge was trying to do too much with really a system and really the players too early. And I learned something early on in my career, and it was a great thing to learn from Coach Shula, where the first day I went to practice, they made us call our own plays. Like in practice, every single 7-on-7 rep, team rep, you called your own play. Now they would say in the team situation, it's a run or a pass, so you couldn't just always throw the football, which we always like to throw the football. But and Coach Shula's theory was, I don't care how much offense or how good we are or what personnel we have. If you as the quarterback do not have the confidence and belief in what we're doing, we're going nowhere. And I really early on tried to do too much, and I tried to be like I had come from a system that was amazing, like, and I knew it well, and I succeeded in it, and we were in a little bit different circumstance. And I think Tom Moore even admitted this. He goes, I was trying to do too much with our team, with all the different personnel groups and adding in tight ends and fullbacks and all different. And it was like we were our best when we lined up spread out, three wide receivers, tight end, Barry Sanders in the backfield. That was a lethal combination. And so in a sense, and this is part of it, is when you're just playing freely and you're playing with so much confidence, but you're playing because you know the play, like, intuitively, and and everyone knows it that way. And I think we developed into part of that. And so yeah, I think there's the damage of having too much of an expectation, too many good players, and everyone's not on the same wavelength as far as their acumen for football, or their knowledge, or their level of comfort with things. And so you look at Tim Tebow at the Denver Broncos, right? Tim Tebow, very pedestrian quarterback at best, and the team's okay. And then all of a sudden, here comes Peyton Manning, and Peyton Manning turns, Wes Welker, he turns Derek or Becker, and some of those guys into these great wide receivers, and they go and win a Super Bowl. And it's all because I believe they all were kind of finally on the same level. And so yeah, it takes that time to do that. All right, anything else about it before I move on?
No, just it's all relative. I think it's the it factor will be defined across different positions based on what is required in each of those positions to succeed. You have to have those. And I'm going to actually, I like some of those things you said, because I'm actually going to get me a shirt made up, and I'm going to say I have it. All right, there it is. So you're just making it work all the way around, man. I have it.
See, and it is, it's fluid, right?
Right.
And it's fluid in the sense that it comes internally, where you have the confidence, you have the skill level, you have the understanding, you have the competence to it, but then you also have the environment and the people around you, and it all factors into it. And I think so often we're so short-sighted in our judgment of people, and whether they have it or they don't have it, and had they gotten into a different circumstance, or maybe a little bit more time to develop. And I don't know that NFL teams really fully grasp this. I think sometimes they maybe stumble onto it, or because I don't think Sam Darnold was a guy that people, oh yeah, we got this guy, we know he's gonna be it for us. It's almost like these early first round draft choices, they kind of take this tour of their career dying. They get drafted by a team, it doesn't work out, they go to another team because the team goes, well, maybe still has it, or maybe he does, maybe he's just in the wrong. And then they go to another team and another team, and then they're out of the league. And the whole thing with Sam Darnold just fascinates the heck out of me about how he really revived, because it doesn't happen, and it very rarely happens that a player revives their career like that. And I love it when it does happen, but it's very rare in the NFL. Speaking of Sam Darnold, we never got a chance to talk about the Super Bowl and kind of just your thoughts about it. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Tell me what you thought about the Super Bowl.
It was one of those that was built more along the case for I think storylines, more so than the game itself. I mean, if you look at the teams that were there, New England, it had a story. Sam Darnold and the Seahawks, there was a story about his journey. It was a story about some of the players that came along, and this new defense and all those things. So other than that,
That's
I
that.
don't I mean, it's not a whole lot more that's there. And then there's the festivities, and then they tried to make it more about, hey, look at all this cool stuff that's happening. So it was one of those Super Bowls. I think anyone who watched it can sit here and say, you know what, this was like one of the best of all times. All those things. The game was very average at best. It wouldn't have rated even during the regular season as a game. And looking at just the play in itself, it just didn't feel like a Super Bowl game. You didn't feel like you had the strongest of the strongest, the best of the best that were there, except you felt that the teams that had arrived did what was necessary, and they went through whatever was on their schedule to ultimately culminate at the Super Bowl and make it work. So kudos to them and those things. But the Super Bowl committee, the marketing teams, the NFL, they knew they had to really market it around
Yeah.
May. They had to market around Darnold. They had to market it around the resurgence of the New England Patriots. And is this the beginning of a new era and all these things? And that fell kind of flat, obviously, because that was a really bad game for New England and for Drake May. But for Sam Darnold, it kind of worked out to give them at least that little bit of salvation at the end, to say, okay, we were able to get something out of this. Otherwise, it wasn't it won't survive like that. Okay. The NFL won't.
Right.
And that tells you a lot, though, about Scott, about the league as well, right? If these are the two teams that ultimately made it to the Super Bowl, what does that say about the teams who were so much stronger? Was it lack of discipline? You can't blame it on injuries all the time. You can't blame it on, it's just that I don't know if the players are playing based on the talent level that we say some of these teams have. Are they giving it that type of level every week? Because if it is, these two teams don't make it. Maybe one, maybe Seattle still gets there, but I don't know if New England makes it there.
See, I think these players probably smoking too much weed. That's what it is. They're too casual about this stuff. Now, I've never smoked weed. I'm not going to ask you if you have or you haven't. That's your personal business. But
look at me, Scott. What do I look like? Do I look like I smoke? No, I'm just, don't answer that question.
No, I would take, I don't even know this about you, but I would take you as like I've never had a drink in my life. And I wouldn't take,
Scott,
no.
I don't know about that one.
No,
you keep telling me that. I hear you.
No,
I hear. But all I say is this: if I'm at the stairway and they said, "Hey, you got to answer this question," and you got everything's on the line, do you believe Scott has had a drink or not? Dude, I'm gonna have to. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to say, listen, he's had more than a drink. I'm just saying, I just find it hard to believe. But listen, brother, I could be wrong.
There's a couple of times in my life when I probably should have, and I probably wanted to, but I never did. And early on, I took all kinds of flack, like in the NFL, like people kind of like what man, I don't believe you, man, what's wrong? You can't trust anyone who doesn't drink, all that stuff. And then what it turned into is like, hey, wait a minute, this guy can be our designated driver. This isn't all bad, right? And so it actually turned into a positive for me. But never had a drink, never had a desire to have one, never smoked weed, never had a desire to do that. I will tell you, I did smoke a cigar once, though. I don't know why. I just wanted, and it was actually when I was in Detroit, and man, I was in my backyard just puffing away at this thing, and I didn't realize that you got to smoke them slow, right? And I was trying to get through it, and I was just going to town on this cigar, and I got so sick. Oh my goodness, it was horrible. Have you ever smoked a cigar? I bet you have.
Man, yeah, I've smoked a cigar, man. And I've partaken, if that is even a word, in adult beverages.
All right.
I just want to see what the profiles are. It's just like coffee to me. Like I love different types of coffee, single origins or blends, right? Different countries and different things. Like the wines, the different countries, the different vineyards, the different aging and all those things. And then you got the different, spirits. And they have different profiles. They're aged a different way. Some of them have a smoky feeling. Some have a little bit more, higher level in it, right? And then I'll stop there.
So when I was in Detroit, I was flying my airplane, which I didn't know you ever wanted to fly in, and I would fly to this island in Lake Erie, and it was called Put in Bay, and all it is a place for people to go party and have a good time and drink, right? And so they had this winery, Heineman's Winery, on Put in Bay, and it was kind of the only attraction. So I fly into the airport. They give me a golf cart. I go to Heineman's Winery. I don't drink alcohol. You know, I'm not into wine, and I know it's a big thing. And they were explaining to me why the wine on the Lake Erie region is so good. It's because of the grapes and how they grow around Lake Erie, and the temperature and the moisture that they get off of the lake. It produces this grape that's exceptional. It's the Catawba grape, right? And so they have this young guy who runs the winery, and his dad, who he inherited from, he's the wine taster, right? So every batch of wine that comes out, he has to take. And so they introduced me to him. He's got a red nose. He's all lit up. He goes, man, he goes, I know this is a tough job, but someone has to taste the wine. You know, he goes, I'm drunk every day by 10 o'clock on wine, but I'm taking it for the team. And it's just really, so I bought grape juice because they do have grape juice. And so I would go to Put-in Bay, go to Heineman's Winery, and they give me a case of grape juice, which was good, by the way. And so I really liked it. But
Scott, you got to change the name, man. It can't be Down and Dirty. I mean, this is like just squeaky clean with Scott Mitchell or something. Like how do you even feel like you can even have a show called Down and Dirty?
Well, because it's not my personal life. It's not like, that's kind of a case. Look, we're going to get into your personal life here in a minute, but it's about being real about, it's like, here's the thing, that this is the whole premise of the show. Okay. Is I can't stand listening to commentators.
Right.
I go, you're not even you're saying a lot of like really important words, and you sound intelligent, but you're not really telling people what's really going on. And so for me, it was like, I want to be able to tell people who love sports from the perspective of someone who's been there and done it and understands it. And it's not going to give you some, crazy story and it sounds good, but it's just a bunch of fluff and anything. So I want to get like down and dirty. I want to give you the real version or vision or understanding of sports and the world of sports. So that's the show. It's not like, it's not
I
like,
didn't say you had to get
down and dirty in our life.
I didn't say you had to literally and physically get down and dirty with anything, man. I'm just saying, like
a little bit.
no, I didn't say, listen, you almost making it sound like I am the type of person that's going to influence you to help you step over and do something that you wouldn't naturally do. Of course, I'm that guy.
That'll never happen.
Yeah, well.
No,
we already, listen, people don't know this already about it. We've already made plans. We've already made plans on all these different things we're going to do, these different journeys. I'm bringing you to a backyard barbecue, backyard cookout. Yes. Like you got to come with the brothers. You got to come with just this whole group that truly the barbecue is a little bit different. And I may even throw you on like, man, just some Timbs, some jeans, get you ready to go, man. You're not going to come there just with a button up flannel or anything like that, man. Just come in there. You're going to come in there rolling with me.
I actually have been thinking about this as well. And in the Winter Olympics, like, have you ever been skiing?
Yes, I have. My son was skiing and I was snowboarding.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm just saying I tried the skis didn't work. So don't make it sound like I didn't try.
Oh, so you were good. You're good on a snowboard?
I didn't say I was good on a snowboard. I said I was snowboarding, or the snowboard was taking me down the hill. And it's interesting thing, man. I went to Pine Knob. Everyone, if you're from Michigan, it's a very popular place to go skiing. My son not only was he working there, but he's a snowboarder, he's a skier, he's an adventurist, right? He's an adventure guy. He likes to get out and do all these things. And he had me get it all geared up and everything. I was on the snowboard going downhill towards the lodge, right from the top of the hill. And it dawned on me on my way down, especially when I started picking up speed, they never told me how to stop. So I get down to the bottom. I notice I'm coming up on the lodge, and I just throw myself to the ground in front of all these people, and they're looking at me like, this dude. It was terrible. And that was the last time I did it.
Yeah, see, Pine Knob is kind of a little bumping. Pine Knob is the bunny hill. That's where you would learn how to ski out west. Like, we have real mountains. Look, and I'm not a skier.
Man, why you got to go there with that, man? Why?
Well, because
why I got to have a bunny hill? And all of a sudden you're like, well, it's not really, it's like a bunny hill. And we over here, we have really like mountains and all those things.
Do. It's the greatest.
I mean, but I'm just saying, like, dude, man, you could just kind of walk into it. You got to jump into it like that. We're not in the huddle. QB1.
No, I understand. But
All right,
here's
well,
the
come
thing.
on. Talk about my
I
money.
think we should go skiing. I
I'll,
because
let's do it.
this is well, it's not only skiing, but this is like um, with the Winter Olympics. A lot of athletes train in Utah, and there a significant amount of the Olympic team is actually from Utah or trains in Utah,
I've been to
and
Park
they
City.
have in Park City, and I want us to go down the bobsled run. They actually train. They do Olympic training for the bobsled in Salt Lake, and it's not like it's not like anything you've ever done. Anyway, so that's something we'll do. Okay, we're in a fork in the road here in the show,
I got my hand up, man.
and you get a choice. Oh, I'm sorry.
I got my hand up because you said you ski. I want to see you go. I just want to see you skiing. All right, I get it. I figure I might want to pause for a second, throw my hand up, man, and just go. Okay, we'll go skiing. I mean, as soon as you said that, I was just like, I'm in,
Oh,
just to see you on skis.
oh, I know. I'm terrible. Like
Okay.
I'm not a skier. I'm just saying it would be worth it. It'd be a fun thing. Okay, so are you done? Did you have any more questions?
That's all I had,
Okay.
teacher. Go
All right.
ahead.
Okay. So fork in the road, and we can go one way or the other, and because we only have time for one or the other, so I'm going to let you pick which direction. I don't care. I think the one would be more interesting than the other one, but not. It doesn't matter. So the one
Once you
is we
pick
can
it,
do.
you pick it. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Well, I found this book, fascinating book, and it's the 3,000 questions about yourself. So it's literally 3,000 questions that you go through and you answer about your life. And I picked it up and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And so I want to read you some questions, and they're not sports related, but they are relative to your life. So we'll do that. We're going to go with that. All right. So are you okay with you don't care? You said you were
No,
fine
I'm
with
good with that, but I'm going. Someone really ripped you off. They just basically gave you homework and said, "Here's."
well,
I
no,
didn't even think about it. I need to write me a book with 5,000 questions, and I could just let people answer that on their own. And I never really give them anything. But go ahead.
well, no, I found it. I found it at Target. It wasn't a lot of money, but
Okay, it makes
it
sense.
was worth the, I don't know, $14 I paid for it. Anyways, all right. So here's your homework. What's the worst thing about your age right now? So your age right now, what's like the worst thing going on?
No patience for stupidity, and
Oh,
just I'm just a straight shooter. Like I don't have time for the behind the scenes, and people are, if you got something to say it. You got something to say to me, say it. That's who I am right now. At this, and what makes it tough is that people aren't built that way. People are built to kind of hold back, and not just because that comes with confidence. You got to be confident in receiving, and you got to be confident in how you respond back. And I'm at an age where I just don't have enough people that will do that.
so in other words, you just want to get the down and dirty.
I just cut through all the fluff, man. What
Okay.
you got to say
Yeah,
to me?
see, I
Great.
hear you. No, I understand. I do. Yeah, I feel that a lot with my age right now. Um, who it's funny you say that because it's kind of the thing. It's like the worst part of me comes out when I drive, and it's for the same reason. It's just like I have no patience. Like get out of the way, pay attention, like move, like get off your phone. Just yeah, I don't have patience. Yeah. Anyways, do you still watch cartoons?
Yes.
Which ones you watch? I probably don't even know what they. Do you watch? Yeah, which ones you watch? You watch like
F is for
new?
family, Family Guy.
Ah,
Um, you know, it's gotta have some type of a humor, but it really goes back. Just it's the characters, right?
yeah,
And it's mindless. It's like it's
right.
not a whole lot that's there.
So
I
so
like
you
Marvel, and I like Marvel stuff. Like
okay? Yeah. Are those cartoons like do
yeah,
they?
I like the animated series. Yeah,
Wait, do you watch Marvel cartoons?
yeah, I like the animated series and stuff like that.
So when do you watch cartoons? Like in the
And
evening?
just
In the
at night, man. I just put my headphones on and
okay, you seriously watch cartoons now?
yeah, man. Why do you say that? Like that's like okay, Scott. Do you drink? Right.
Okay,
Right.
fair enough.
That's fair enough, right?
Yeah. You know, I've never gotten into The Simpsons. I've never
Nah.
gotten into like Family Guy, and I'm sure it's massively entertaining because the stuff that I do, the clips and whatever I watch, I'm like, oh, you know, that's pretty funny, you know, or that's pretty good. And I just now I was insane about watching cartoons as a kid. Like I watched, and it was all the Looney Tune cartoons, it was
Yep.
the Flintstones, it was the Jetsons, it was the Marvel, you know, the superheroes. I mean, I watched that to death when I was a kid, but I didn't get into like I don't want to maybe more adult cartoons, and I don't know, maybe I will, instead of drinking I will actually watch cartoons. How's that?
Yeah, well, the profanity is real, and it's
Oh,
got some very touchy stuff that it discusses. So you have to be able to take it tongue in cheek. You can't come in and just be like, "Oh, it's so offensive," because you will get offended. And
so you don't real I don't know that I recall you ever swearing. Did you swear?
hey, man, listen, if you know my mother, her name is Mary Moore, and she is a sister from the South. And trust me, I think my first words were probably swear words. I can control them, you know. But
Oh,
sometimes I will admit this, and I've said this to people, and those who do use profanity, I'm not. If you do it and you don't, it's up. You know, that's your prerogative. Sometimes I can tell you what I need to tell you with one word or two, then give you an entire paragraph, and we'll be on the same page, so we understand.
see,
So,
my grandpa was a swearer.
mhm.
Like, and my grandpa swearing actually sounded cool. Like and it was like, I don't know, there's just something about the way that the words he used and just the context in which he used them was just, man, it was really good. I was just like, and I'll tell you another guy and he was foul mouthed. Like, I mean, he was just absolutely the most foul mouthed person I've ever heard. And for some reason, I was not put off by it. And I actually was Tony Saragusa. You remember Tony?
Oh yeah, I remember Tony.
Yeah, we were
Yeah, the Ravens.
teammates together for
Mhm.
for a year in Baltimore. And I think every other word was the F word. And it just didn't, I don't know. And he and his wife, the conversations they'd have back and forth with each other, just, it was just the language of f bombs back and forth. So
Yeah, for clarity though, you know, I don't swear often.
yeah.
I swear again. I do everything with purpose.
uh,
There's a reason if I do have to swear. There's a reason why I'm swearing.
I'm a purposeful, so it's just not just arbitrary. Just
Yeah, I don't just
uh,
run around and just like
yeah,
I just want to just say some things because I can't find the words. No,
yeah.
that's
You
not
just
that.
don't have a dirty mouth. I get it.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So, what do you think about romance? Are you a romantic guy? Or are you just, I mean, since we're kind of practical and no patience, where's your romance level?
I think that's all in the definition. I think that's defined differently based on who you're being romantic with. You know, so I don't think it's straight lace. You know, some people, you know, define romantic we may find as off-putting and may find it a little weird and a little strange, and then some others may say, you know what, that's not enough. So I think it's subjective.
So, what would you consider romantic? Like what moves the needle with your wife?
um I think if I'm looking at romance as knowing your person, like it's romantic when a person just knows non-verbally what makes you happy, and they're able to know those things. Just it's not one of those things that is doing as much as knowing. I think is the romantic part of a relationship. When a person, you like, we like to say, you know your person.
All right.
You know when to leave them alone. You know when to console them and comfort them. You know, the right way to, you know, the words to use and all those things. That to me that's a vibe. That's a whole different thing. Romance is, to me, is almost like a moment, and then it goes away. Versus if you're romantic, I think it could embody you all the time because it's an energy and it's a certain thing that you're doing.
What are you never satisfied with in your life right now?
Um, the success I had the day before, and it sounds kind of, you know, something that a person would throw out and have it as a cliche or something that's kind of a, you know, a line. But I always feel that the next day I want to continue to improve. Like I just I have a hard time just saying I'm good. which is could be a bad thing too, right? I'm not saying that's a perfect thing, but I'm always looking at ways to get purpose. I'm a purpose driven person. You know, if you're asking me to do something just to just kind of get through it, it doesn't excite me.
You know, the thing I really struggle with is I'm massively competitive, and I can never I can't let stuff go. Like it is just that it just drives me insane, and it's just and it's exhausting actually some days where I just am like, this competitive nature of things, and it doesn't matter what it is. Like it can be video well, not video games, but like board games, playing with family. It can be d- driving in the car. It can be, my, what I'm doing now. Just I'm just ultra competitive about things, and I can never stop it. And I wish I could. I really do. And I don't know how to stop it, but it's just something that just really, it, and in some ways it's good because it propels me forward. But there are times when it's actually quite exhausting.
I got a question for you. So when people say try, if you fail, try again. At some point, do you just go, "No, I'm not good at this," and you move on? You know what I mean? Like think about, like, to me, I'm the type that goes, okay, if I'm not, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna keep trying. Like if I fight you and I come in every day and I just keep just mollywhopping you, man. I just keep beating
Right.
you down. You gonna keep coming back, or would you just go, man? I think I'm good.
See, that's the part of me that just goes, "Man, I'm dumb enough to just keep taking the beating, and I'll eventually figure it out." And but here's the
You
thing
just
with
haven't
me
been
in
beat
my
right.
life
That's what it is.
is that I'll give you an example. Okay, I started learning how to fly fish, in college was when I really got serious about it, and I was terrible. Like I couldn't cast very well, and there's an art to it. There's a technique. There's just a process of practice, right? And so and so I just worked at it, and I think that's the one thing in my life that I've never I've just always believed that if I work at something, I eventually will figure it out, and it's really held true. And quite frankly, it's what drives me crazy about our time in Detroit. I wanted more time. I wanted more time to figure out how we can go and win a Super Bowl. And when that was cut off, and they said, "No, no, you can't. You're done. It's over." That just did not sit well with me at all, and doesn't to this day. When I was a young kid starting out playing in sports, I had I could throw the ball really hard in baseball, and I love baseball, but I was just wild, like brutally wild. And I would stand on the mound, and the kids would cry at the plate because they were afraid I was going to hit them, and I'd start crying on the mound because I knew I was going to hit them, right? And so I went in my backyard, and I just would for hours throw a baseball against this brick shed we had until I got good at throwing a baseball. And it was just something that was just kind of in my DNA that I could, if I just work at this long enough, I'll eventually figure it out. And I have. I mean, pretty much everything, it's just like, it's like, hey, I want to try to see if I can fly an airplane. And I did, so I don't know. I found it to be more enlightening and more, wow, I didn't know I could do this. I didn't know I was capable of this, but it does take a commitment to it, even when it's not, you don't have that initial success with it. And even sometimes when you're brutally bad with it, when you start doing it.
Fly
Okay.
fish,
What's that?
fly fishing, huh?
Yeah. You ever fly fish?
No, man.
I'm gonna take you fly fish. I'm gonna take you fly fishing uh in salt water. And you're gonna, and yeah, you'll wish that I was beating you up, other than speaking of crying.
Maybe we'll do that too while we're at it. Maybe you and I throwing some gloves. You say you like to get beat up and see how many times you want to keep coming back. Because
That would be kind of fun.
I'm just
But
telling you,
to do
Scott.
it in a way
Be careful
where,
what you ask for.
yeah, no, that would be interesting to go a couple of rounds.
I'll
I
knuckle up with you. We could do it.
um Speaking of beating someone up, have you ever made someone cry?
Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
What was the time that you made someone cry that you really regretted?
Um, that's a good one. That I made someone cry that I really regretted. I think it was when just being a business owner and you have to let someone go because the business no longer is sustainable. And anyone who's entrepreneurial know you're gonna have ups and downs. You're gonna have some crash and burns. And having to sell someone who has a family and has they depend on that job and they're part of your team, right? And that's why even when I look back at the sports world and the place we come from, how callous it is and how easy it is to just say you're done and there's no emotion and it's no personal touch to it, and it hurt me. It's like it hurt me to have to go through and let team members go and know that their livelihood and their family was going to suffer because of that, and have them cry in front of you, men or women. and
Yeah.
and then there you're as a person, you're sitting there knowing that it's almost like the commander says, I got to do that or I got to let the whole ship go, right? And the whole everybody's got to crash. And it's to this day it still bothers me, like to know that I as a business owner, as a leader, you had to let some people who what you would consider loyal to you and did everything they could, and it wasn't their fault, whether it's the customers or whether it's the environment of the business world, and you have to let them go. And I think that would be probably one of the toughest things I've ever had to do.
Yeah, that would be tough. Mine was I punched a kid in the fourth grade. It was the only fight I've ever been in. He got a bloody nose, and I felt so bad about it. And he was crying. It was horrible. Like I just hit him perfectly, and it looked it was just bad. So
You're
I
a big dude too, man. Were you a bully?
no. I There's the only fight I've ever been in my life. Are you kidding?
Only
I
one
was
fight? Nah, man. You
one.
don't
I
you want to
know
you
it's
don't,
just
don't
like
come over here, Scott. I already
yeah,
told you. You don't want to come to the
yeah,
Herman House of Pain.
yeah.
Don't do it. No, I'm just telling you. But then again, you already said there's certain things about you I know, but I don't know. Maybe you are one of those guys who likes pain. So we'll find out.
You don't know. Could you ever be on a reality TV show?
No, I was actually asked while we were playing. You didn't notice to
Oh,
be on when they first launched. Was it Return to Gilligan's Island?
what?
Yep, they asked me
What are
to
you
be
going to
on
play,
there.
Gilligan?
No, man, that's when they brought the cast. It was a reality show. You go out and you be on
Oh,
Gilligan's Island,
really?
and it was like, yeah, it was like you go out there and they were going to put you on an island and all this stuff, and they talked about how they were going to film me and they could put cameras anywhere and everywhere. And I sent it over to my agent, I sent it over to my attorneys, and they was like, no, I wouldn't do that. And this is before reality shows really took
Yeah,
off and were a big thing. This was back in the '90s, right? And they came to me, when we're at the height of our visibility, as whatever that
right.
would be on the scale for us as Lions. And yeah, man, I got offered to be on a couple shows. That was one that stood out. I'm actually going, now that I'm thinking about it, because I keep papers everywhere. I'm gonna see if I can find that, because that'll be interesting to see the contract that they sent me. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was, I was gonna have to go away for a little while and do the filming. It was on the off season, and yeah, it was a reality show. So if you go back and look up when that came on, I'm gonna go back and see it, because I don't even know if I watched the show, because I saw the contestants that went on there, and then afterwards I was like, yeah, I'm glad I didn't go.
Yeah, I've been on a reality TV show.
No, I don't remember.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's for fat people. Biggest Loser.
Hey, I
And
remember I would sit there and watch that religiously. And you know what? People don't know you called me, and I felt really um honored that you called me and said, you know what, I'm going to be on this show, and then I'm going to be in the final. We're going to be down. I think it was in Florida,
yeah,
and you said
it
if
was
I get if where is that where it was, right?
it was in Hollywood, out
Yeah.
in California. Yeah,
Yep, California. Right, right. I'm sorry, you were in Florida, but I think I was in California. But um, and you said I want you to come there and be one of my support
yeah,
for the show. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like, of all people, you could have called a lot of people. I'm sure you had a lot of other people you called as well. But I was
yeah,
like, you called me and say, I need you to, if I do this, I need you to come out. I'd like for you to come out. So that was cool.
yeah. It was. I'd probably do it again. I had a really good experience. My experience actually was more personal than the show, and again the competitive nature. Like I was trying to figure out how to win the show, and I wasn't. wasn't fat enough to win the show. And so you had to get rid of the people that were actually fatter than you were. And I couldn't do it. Like they were too conniving. And because that's the only shot I had to, so because it is a reality TV game show. I mean, it was a game show. Like the winner got $250,000. So it was, but it was fun. I had a great experience with it. Lost a lot of weight and I gained it back. But
you look great, man. I remember I didn't recognize you. I was like, man, I thought you were going to go back and play.
Yeah, I could have too at that point. All right, last question. Time capsule to be opened in 50 years. What 3 items are you putting in a time capsule that would be open in 50 years?
In 50 years.
Yeah.
Definitely would have to have some type of a picture or something that could live from a visual standpoint.
Right.
I would want something visual. One.
Some picture.
Something visual, and then I would want something that would be audible. So my voice and me visually, whether it be my life, my family, people who meant the most to me, something like that, that would say this is kind of what I live for.
Right.
And then the last thing would probably be gosh, I don't know, probably cremate me, man. Put my ashes in there. I don't know. Just leave everything. So then that way I'm all in one place.
When you put it in, you'd have to put yourself in at that time, right? Yeah. So you'd have to kill yourself in when you're putting the time capsule.
Yeah, together. That's what I'm saying. But you said that you didn't say it had to be while I was alive. I'm talking about in the time capsule. Can I have someone do it for me? Like when
I guess they could just kind of, when the time came, when you cremated yourself.
Okay, so you're saying physically what I would put in there. I thought you meant like what would be in my time capsule that would be there for 50 more years.
Well, yeah, things about your life right now that you'd want in a time capsule that would be opened in 50 years. So I really liked where you're going.
So I'd have to wait till the end of my life. So here's the thing, like, and I won't over debate you on this because I want to start getting down and dirty with you. Bam, hit you in the ribs or something like that. The way I was thinking of it when you were asking me that question for clarification was that if you're saying at the end of my life, then these are the things I want in it. And then I would like to have me when I go to be a part of that goes so I can stay there. Right.
Gotcha.
And listen, I'm in that thing. But if you're saying, hey, right now, my life isn't done. Whatever I put in there now, I may change it. I'm going to edit it all the way, probably up to the day I almost die.
Yeah.
I would imagine like some pieces, I guess I would put in there now, whether it be some, I don't know, some family stuff or whatever, but my story is still being written. So if I put in a time capsule now, I may leave out really the good stuff later.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting question. I mean, you could chop a finger off right now or maybe a lock of you just get your beard right there and just kind of chop off a little bit.
You thought about saying my hair, right? You thought about that. Yeah. You thought about it. Yeah, I know.
No, I was trying to
lock
be nice.
Hair. Yeah. Use like maybe on your beard, but you know what? It wouldn't be the real color because this would be probably gray instead of this, so it probably would turn back a different color.
So is that not the actual color of your beard?
No. Come on, man.
Oh
no. I mean, it is.
If I grew out my beard, it would be white.
Yeah. Almost. So mine would be mostly, but I don't mind. It's fashion. It's like changing your clothes. Like it's fashionable to do different things with your hair. It doesn't matter.
You actually look good.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. You go back, I go back.
Yeah.
And you know what? Another thing we're gonna do for everyone, we're gonna go somewhere. You're gonna throw me some passes.
Oh, yeah.
We'll throw a slow fade.
Yeah, it'll be
not the high fade. We're gonna throw the slow fade.
Yeah, slow is the operative word there. All right, that's all we have for today. Really appreciate you joining. It's a lot of fun every week. Look forward to it. This has been the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell. I've had Herman and Moore on today. Hope you like the show. Please like and subscribe. And until then, we'll see you then.